of the topics in Chapter 2 of Genetic Twists of Fate deals with HIV infection, which is linked to AIDS, and the deletion of a particular region of a gene called the CCR5 gene. And I wanted to explain this using a visual. This relates to one of the questions on the RSG where I ask you to explain a particular phrase relating to this information. So what we're looking at here is a particular type of cell. This is called a T cell. And a T cell is a type of white blood cell. And the HIV virus will infect T cells. Now, to infect the T cells, it needs two things. It needs a CD4 T cell receptor complexed with a CCR5 receptor. Now, both of these receptors are encoded for by genes in the DNA. So now we're looking inside of the white blood cell, and there are two copies of the CCR5 gene. You get one from your mom in the egg and one from your dad in the sperm. If both of those copies are normal, meaning they're not mutated or unchanged, then you produce a normal CCR5 protein which allows the HIV virus to infect the cell. And so over time, we would hypothesize that AIDS would result, or symptoms of AIDS would result. Now, it's also possible to have an individual that has one normal copy of the CCR5 gene and one mutated copy of the CCR5 gene. And this little symbol that you see, delta 32, that means 32 bases or base pairs have been deleted from this gene. All right, so 32 base pairs have been deleted from the gene, so therefore it's no longer a normal gene, it's a mutated gene. So in this case, the individual will produce, as is shown here, excuse me, a slightly modified CCR5 protein. The HIV virus can still bind to it, but it doesn't bind as effectively, so you see delayed progression of the symptoms associated with HIV infection. If an individual possesses two mutant copies of this gene, both of them with the 32 base pair deletion, then you produce a modified CCR5 protein. And this modified CCR5 protein does not create the appropriate receptor for the HIV virus to bind to and subsequently infect the cell. So individuals that have two copies of this mutant form of the gene, these are called mutant alleles, will not be infected by the HIV virus. So in the particular chapter section, they indicate if an individual had two of these mutant copies, then he wouldn't have been affected by HIV and he wouldn't have died of AIDS. So I hope this additional explanation is helpful.